This for 5 minutes.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. It appears, just trying to put the pieces of the puzzle together as simply as possible, that Mr. Roseman was the chief financial officer until he stopped telling Mr. Corzine what he wanted to hear. And so then Mr. Stockman was hired to tell Mr. Corzine what he wanted to hear. Just saying, that's clearly how it appears so far. I read an article, sold out. MF Global Investor Protections trampled in private meeting between government regulators. I'd like to begin by asking Mr. Stockman just a few questions about that meeting. Do you know about the meeting with the SEC, J.P. Morgan, Goldman Sachs, and others?
No, sir, I wasn't involved with those meetings, if I understand which ones they were.
Do you know about the meeting?
I was aware as a general matter, but not involved with those meetings.
Do you know the names of those who were there?
I do not.
How did you find out about the meeting?
If it's the SEC meetings that you're referring to, some of this was in the public and as a general matter, you know.
Rumor mill, or?
I couldn't. I don't recall exactly where, but as I said, I was not involved with those.
Do you know the names of anyone who was there under oath?
Under oath, to the best of my knowledge, again, making sure I understand which meetings you're referring to. I wasn't aware of or at those meetings. Okay.
Clearly, the October 31st meeting, which you mentioned, was with the SEC. Do you know the names of anyone who was at that meeting? Rumored, first hand, second hand, third hand, fifth hand. I want to know if you know anyone or about anyone who was at that meeting.
I do not.
Did you find out after that meeting what transactions were made by MF Global Holdings?
No, sir.
You don't know what decisions came out of that meeting? What they decided to do with assets? How they decided to hose the investors? You don't know any of that? You've not heard any of that anywhere?
Sir, if you're referring to the final days of the company wind down, is that what you're referring to?
You're the risk manager. I'm just a congressman trying to put pieces together. Mm-hmm. You know more about this in your little finger than everybody up here on this board has, and we're just trying to get you to tell us about a little bit of it so that we might better protect the public and maybe for the first time in 4 years have some accountability for the thieves that are plundering the public. And it's important for you to be honest with us and tell us everything that you know about this situation in order to do that. Mm-hmm. Your testimony, what you knew about it, you didn't say, this is all I know about it. You said, this is all I care to say about it. This meeting is very, very critical, what went on at this meeting. And I want to know everything that you know about that meeting. And I'm not going to stop asking questions about it on record, under oath, until the chairman makes me. Mm-hmm. Unless you start answering some of them.
I wouldn't be able to answer the question in any different way because I was not there or involved at that meeting.
Well, the last question I asked you was the result of what came out of the meeting. Certainly you know what transpired after the meeting, don't you? There was a decision about selling some assets. Who was going to get priority of the asset? Tell me what you know about that subsequent to the meeting, please.
And subsequent to the meeting, I was not involved in the wind down of the company or in its decision to file for bankruptcy. So I was not in the area, so to speak, when actual specific decisions were being made regarding which assets to sell and in the wind down.
So you're saying you don't even know what decisions were made?
I'm saying that I was not involved in the wind down of the company during that period of time when assets and decisions were being made to reduce exposure.
Who do you think is the best person to know what went on in that meeting?
Again, I'm
Under oath, I know.
I'm just saying that not having been either a participant or an invitee to the meeting that you're referring to, I think it wouldn't be hard to figure out who the attendees were. But as you asked before,
400 million people in the United States of America, and it could have been any of them. Is that what you're telling me?
No, sir. I'm just simply saying that not having either been invited to that meeting or a participant in that meeting, that I wouldn't know.
And you have no clue as to who would have been there.
Well, it would make sense that some senior management would have been there.
And some names, maybe?
I mean, our senior management, it's hard for me to be very specific because, this particular meeting, neither was I invited or a participant. So it's just really difficult for me.
You were not a lowly clerk in that organization.
Mm-hmm.
You know darn good and well what's going on within that organization. And you know darn good and well you can tell me who you think should have been at that meeting. And I'm just asking you to be honest with us and do it.
Again, I just have to keep coming back to, I could only imagine.
Mr. Roseman, can you give me any ideas? Obviously, you needed to be replaced by this guy, but maybe you have a little bit better knowledge of how that organization works.
I think clearly I wasn't there, but in Mr. Stockman's defense, it sounds like he wasn't at the meeting. But after the fact, I'm sure there was some direction that was given to individuals. I wasn't there, so I can't respond to whether or not he knows what actions were given out or otherwise.
Who do you think would have been in attendance at the meeting? Just swag it if you would.
Certainly, if it were a very concerning meeting like you're suggesting, I would expect Mr. Corzine to be there. Would have expected Mr. Abelow to be there, and maybe a few other members of executive management, but at least those two individuals.
Okay.
I hate to do this,
Thank you, Mr.
gentlemen,
Chairman.
but we're going to have to.
It's just speculation,
Thank you.
though, of course.
Move on. Ms. Waters.
He knows who's.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. I